Hi, welcome to my channel, Senior Sue Cacti and Succulents. Today I'm going to do a little patio cleanup. I feel that I have too many small containers of plants and I want to combine some of them into bigger pots and put some of them into the ground. Over in this area that I have on the patio, all of these that you see on the ground, those are going to be planted into the ground. But when I'm sitting there out on my patio, my eye kind of jumps around. There's no place for my eye to rest because there are so many small things to look at. So even though there are not a ton of items on the patio, it still looks very busy and messy. So what I'm going to be doing is repotting some things, combining things, and putting some items into the ground. So this is a project that I might not finish completely today. Now here underneath this table, you see some plants that I have there, some aloe. Believe it or not, those have been sitting there for, gosh, about 3 months, and they're still viable. I can still plant those into the ground. They are going to go in some spot in my front yard. Now this section, I'm going to leave all of these hanging pots and all of these other items here because I think that looks okay. This arrangement in the brown planter is overgrown, so I completely need to take that apart and reset everything into the pot. And I'm going to move the bench down a little bit to give more room on the right-hand side. And these are all aeonium lily pads. I'm going to be combining those into a bigger pot also. But to me, there are just too many little items that make things look cluttered. And this is my Euphorbia millii. That might go into the ground in my front yard. I have not decided yet. Okay, so I'm going to get busy with this shelf first. And I have some plants in here that I believe are dead. Well, one I know is dead for sure. This is Old Man of the Andes, and unfortunately, he did not die of old age. He was the victim of drowning. I have some pots that are hanging up above, and when I watered them, the water from those pots dripped down onto the cactus. So I should have moved that cactus pot out of the way or moved the hanging pots out of the way. Now, this one, I am not absolutely sure if it is alive or not. So we'll cut into that and take a look. Well, this cactus appears to be healthy, so I cut him up for nothing. Tag so that you can see what the name of this cactus is. I repotted the portion of the cactus that has roots and I put rooting hormone on top. So hopefully this cactus will survive. And the top, I am also going to be putting rooting hormone on that and let it dry out. And also I will be planting that one into the soil. All right, I'm going to start removing everything and clean up this shelf a bit and make it less cluttered. It is looking better already. Now for the bottom shelf, I'm going to clean that up a bit. Now this is an agave that I will eventually be planting into the ground. This is a variegated euphorbia, and I think I'm going to plant that one in the ground in my one of my backyard gardens. I believe this is a crassula, and more than likely I will be planting this one in the ground also. I have another euphorbia here, and this one also will be planted in the ground. This is Adenium obesum, also known as desert rose, and I'm just going to be potting this up into a larger pot. I'm going to keep this cactus in its same pot. This tephro cactus will also remain in its same pot. This is a nice, healthy-looking crassula, and that is going in the ground also. And lastly is the Irish bouquet. And if you want a little more information about this plant, check out my series called 24 Days of Cacti and Succulents. And I'll put a link to that at the end of the video if you're interested. It's time to clean up the bottom shelf a little bit and put a few of the plants back on the shelf. And then I'm going to start doing some repotting. I have a total of 2 dead cacti, and I will be repotting the remaining 2 into different pots. These bristle brush tongs that I'm using really make it easy to repot cacti or plant them. I received it as a Christmas gift, and they were working out just great. Having the right tools makes the process of planting these cacti much easier. And finally, it's time to repot the Parodia erubescens. The last cacti is potted up, and I'm going to add some top dressing to make this look really pretty. I've decided to pot up my Aeonium lily pads into this pot, so I'm taking 4 pots and condensing it down into this one big large pot. So that's 4 things, small little things that are not going to make my eye jump around when I'm looking across the items in my patio. I'm adding some black colored top dressing, and then I'm going to get this over to the shelf where this is now going to go in its new home. I think it's looking good here in this location. I'm going to repot this Adenium obesum into this Talavera inspired pot. Now, if you want to know why I'm calling it a Talavera inspired pot, you can check out my video on what is true Talavera, and I will put a link up above. But in summary, true Talavera has a stamp on the bottom of the pot, and there are also other characteristics to look for in a Talavera pot. Finally, I'm going to get some succulents planted into the ground. So the first thing that I need to do is remove these 2 aeoniums that I have planted up against the brick wall, and then I will be putting those 2 tall euphorbias back here in its place. And now remember, euphorbias are succulents, not cacti. The first euphorbia is going into the ground. Okay, I have the other euphorbia planted into the ground, and I did that off camera, but I think they look really nice here, and I think they should do well. Here's a little wider shot of the area here. This is the last plant to be planted into the ground today, and I'm going to put it over here by my, what is that thing, a metal lizard gecko? Okay, let's speed this process up a bit because I have a few other things that I want to show you before I end this video. It's in the ground and things are looking good. I'm pleased with the way this turned out. I mentioned to you earlier that I would be planting this Euphorbia millii in my front yard, but I decided to go ahead and plant it right here in the corner of my backyard. Now ignore the mess here because I have leaves all over the place and I need to clean that area up a bit. You can see that I did not even touch this area other than placing my desert rose there in the pot, but all of these items need to be planted in the ground, and that will be in a future video, but at least I got a couple of the shelves cleaned up a bit. Now the second shelf on this one, that one needs to be gone over too. I'm going to be planting some of those items in the ground also. I did not touch the two tables on each side of this bench, but I will need to get at those in the next video. I want to get those tables cleaned off and maybe only one or two items on the tables. Okay, so that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, but before I go, I want to show you the fairy lights that I put out on this one table and what they look like at night. All right, take care. See you in the next one. Bye.